It's me, Natalie, here. And let's get to it. I want to talk about shame. What it is and how it might be functioning in some of our lives. Some of my own experiences with shame. You know, being alive, being human means you have access to so many experiences, so many emotions, so many thoughts. You are free at all times to choose, especially your thoughts and emotions, but also your experiences. And yet I have this sense that we are all free, but there might be a forgetting of that fact, maybe a willful disregarding of that fact. And something that can contribute to a feeling of being shackled, being constrained, is shame. So, you know, when I feel ashamed about something, generally it's not a pleasant emotion. You know, it feels small, right? It makes me want to curl up in a ball and hide when I feel shame. It feels painful. Yeah, it feels hot, like blushing, but not in a good way. And I was thinking about this today because I think a little bit of shame has a place. So sometimes examples are useful. An example from my own life of where I felt shame and it was correct. You know, there was a point where I acted and said things that hurt someone I cared about. And those actions and behaviors didn't come from a place of love. And then I saw the impact of my actions, and I saw the pain it caused my loved one. And I felt ashamed of my actions. I don't know, maybe you relate. I think that's healthy shame. I think in a healthy sense, shame can correct you. It's a stepping stone, right? It's a realization point that you would like to change something, that you desire a different outcome. I think some of the difficulty that can arise is if you stay in that feeling, right? So even back to my example with my loved one, if I stay in that feeling of small, hot pain, grief, there's no release of that moment. That realization doesn't get to shine its light into my life to make my life lighter and more easeful. It just creates a burden and this feeling of unworthiness. I think shame left to sit, shame left to marinate and become sour, unattended, unincorporated in a way that's healthy for you, it becomes much darker feelings, right? Feelings that ebb away and chip away at your inner sense of well-being. So let me give you another example. When I was in college, my senior year, first semester senior year, I failed all of my classes. And, you know, for a long time of my life, academic excellence was a defining aspect of my identity. I drew so much inspiration from the goal of academic excellence, and I also drew admiration from others and also from myself. And so that experience of failing my classes shook me up, you guys. And at that time, I was afraid to be honest, I think fully with myself about how deeply impacted I was from that experience. And part of it was I was motivated to fix it, you know? I was like, okay, what am I doing next? How am I correcting this? Which I did, you know, of course, eventually correct the situation. But I thought I had to focus on those external details, and I didn't turn inward to see what that feeling was doing in my body, right? And because I had attached so much of my identity to academic excellence, I felt like I was not deserving. I was not deserving of the same level of respect as my other peers who did not face the same challenge as I did. In my head, right? I think that's another thing too that can happen is we often imagine that we are the only ones facing our situation. And every situation is unique, but that's a digression. I was ashamed. I felt I didn't deserve what I had worked towards. I felt like I was letting down the people who had believed in me, my family, my teachers and friends. I felt like I had wasted money, all of that tuition spent for that semester. You know, it was hitting me, and I just didn't address it in that time. So why am I sharing this with you? I want you to know how free that you are. Period. If you have shame in your life that's acting on you in the sense that it's influencing how you feel, and those feelings are leading to behaviors, I encourage you to watch that, right? Because if we are acting in a pattern that is driven by shame, that is driven by feelings of unworthiness, that is driven by feelings of grief and pain and anger. I'm touching on some other ones now, but you know, if you're watching this and you've listened 10 minutes in, you know what I'm talking about. If you are living a life where that is hanging over your head, I'm with you. I've been there, and I want you to be free. I want you to realize that you are so worthy. You are so worthy. And any shame that you feel shows you that you are human, shows you that your heart is alive, that your heart desires good things. And I'm so grateful that you're here. It takes so much courage just to show up, and here you are. So if there's a narrative in your mind that is telling you you are not good enough, you are free to disagree with that narrative and replace it with something else. That's all I've got for you guys.